I want to actually talk a little bit about why having your body burn extra body fat is helpful for your metabolism, because that's really important.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So I thought I understood human metabolism as a medical doctor, and you're talking to my patients with diabetes or cardiovascular disease or obesity, and you're giving them the usual spiel. But I can tell you, everything changed in our understanding of modern human metabolism in December of 2021. That's not that long ago. So 2 years ago, everything we knew about human metabolism changed. Now, first of all, let me just tell you some of those assumptions that I used to make. I used to think, like I think most people, you're born with a fast or slow metabolism. My sister was lucky. She's skinny as a rail. She can eat anything, and she's always skinny, right? Me, I've had to fight with my weight and what I eat. I can't help it. Okay, that's what I thought. Second, I always thought, like, when there's teenagers and they're bouncing off the walls and they're eating 2 or 3 dinners, right? And you're like, my gosh, this kid's metabolism must be going through the roof because they're growing. So I used to think that teenagers, puberty is when the metabolism is really escalating. And then during middle age, of course, we're all conditioned to assume what we see with our eyes is that when you hit your 40s or 50s, a lot of people change their body shape and they really, really struggle. And it must be their metabolism naturally slowing down. So people who hit that magic window, 40, 45, like they groan. They go, oh man, now I'm gonna be screwed. I've got to fight twice as hard. Everyone says that. That's an assumption. All right. Well, I will tell you that every single one of those assumptions is wrong. Okay. And let me explain to you what this discovery that happened in 2021. There was a researcher named Herman Ponzer. He's a researcher at Duke University. He worked with 90 colleagues from 20 countries. This is a massive research project. And they studied 6,000 people from 20 countries, men and women, young and old, different cultures, different diets, different holidays, different comorbidities, different diseases. And what's amazing is they studied people that were as young as 1 week old, newborn. And they studied people as old as 90 plus years old.
That runs the gamut.
That's the gamut right there. Okay. And the amazing thing is they studied human metabolism. They wanted to know, okay, from the first week of life until 90s, what does human metabolism actually do? And the way they got at this is they studied everyone in the exact same way. So how do they do that? Well, they gave everybody a drink of water. Okay. Now, this water, which we know is H2O, right? That's what water is. H is hydrogen, O is oxygen. And what the researchers did, they tweaked the hydrogen, they tweaked the oxygen so the atoms could be measured. Okay. And so they gave everybody this thing to drink, babies to old elderly people, and they were able to measure the metabolism through their breath, through their blood, and through their urine. Because the H and the O, the hydrogen and the oxygen from the water, you can measure. And that actually is a reflection of what the metabolism is actually doing in their body. You can throw it into a computer and it'll calculate your metabolism. Okay. So what they did, they found of this 6,000 people, when they measured it, the results were all over the place. Okay. So the first results it was just chaos. Everybody had different metabolism. Yeah, just exactly like we thought. Metabolism is a big mess. We're never going to be able to figure this out, but we live in the age of supercomputing. So what they did is they used artificial intelligence, and they knew how tall, they knew how old and how the age and the height of every subject. Okay. And then and the weight. And then what they were able to do through artificial intelligence and algorithm, they were able to subtract the effect of on their metabolism of excess body fat. So whatever the number was for 6,000 people, they were able to calculate that they have too much body fat, and if so, they removed it. Now, when they subtracted the effect of excess body fat on metabolism, the results was like removing the cloak off the statue of David for the first time. Suddenly, human metabolism across the entire lifespan, from 1 week old to 90 plus years old, became crystal clear. And what they found is that if you remove extra body fat, human metabolism is pretty much the same when you're born. Everyone's born with more or less the same metabolism. It makes sense right? So when we're all born, our hearts work the same way, our livers work the same way, our brains generally work the same way.
Okay.
We're all hardwired the same way. Okay. Now, what happens after that is when we're running around our life. But here's the pattern that was discovered. There's 4 phases of human metabolism. From birth to 1 year old, our metabolism skyrockets. Okay. Yeah. In fact, it's so high that at 1 year old, your metabolism is 50% higher than when you're an adult. So a little 1 year old's metabolism is 50% higher, 150% what an adult's is. All right.
Which is why they're hungry every 3 hours.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time. And why it is so important that we think twice about what we're exposing our infants to, right? Microplastics, obesogens, endocrine disruptors. Man, we got to do a rethink of everything. That fluffy teddy bear, the Whoopie, the pacifier. Man, we better start thinking about that stuff because the little baby is taking up everything like gangbusters as quickly as possible. So number one, phase 1, okay, 0 to 1. From 1 year old to 20 years old, that's puberty. The time that I told you I thought the kids are bouncing off the wall, eating 2 dinners, metabolism be haywire. Nope. It's going down, 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 down from 1 year old. And in fact, it goes down to adult level. So at you're 20, the teenager's metabolism after 19, 20 hits adult level. And then from 20 to 60, and here's the mic drop moment. The human metabolism was found by this research of 6,000 people to be absolutely rock stable. It's hardwired not to go down by itself. 20 to 60 adult years, all of your young adult years, your middle age years, your working life years, up to your retirement years to 60, it is rock stable. I'm going to come back to explain why people do gain weight during that time, but this is how our operating system is. And then from 60 to 90, it does go down a little bit, but only a little bit, by about 17%. Okay.
This explains the freshman 15, because that's when I got chubby. That's 17, 18, 19, where it was dropping.
Well, and I will also tell you that what happens, remember I told you to get to this pattern of 4 phases, the researchers removed the effect of excess body fat. So now you throw more body fat in there and you completely sit on the metabolism and it goes down. So we used to say a slow metabolism causes you to gain weight. Right? It's the other way around. Excess body fat slows our metabolism. Another myth shattered.
Okay.
All right. We're all born the same. Our exposures, our lifestyle, we're fed, the quality of food, how our parents raised us, our behaviors that we undertake as teenagers, the freshman 15, what you're doing, what you're eating, the pizza nights, et cetera, all those things affect whether you're gaining extra body fat. And the moment you start gaining extra body fat, it's like what they had to do in this experiment. When you throw in that extra body fat, the metabolism goes down. When you remove the extra body fat, metabolism rises to its hardwired level. So what I'm telling you is that human metabolism's hardwired like the operating system in your laptop. So Dacia, if you were to go out to buy a computer, same model as me, on opposite ends of the country, you pull it out of the box, we both plug it in and boot it up. The operating system of our computers should work exactly the same way. That's human metabolism. Now, what happens is that you might be downloading something. I might spill some coffee on mine. You might actually drop your computer. I might let some dust get in mine. And guess what? That slowly starts to change our operating system. And that's why our metabolism is all over the place. Everyone is so different because our lifestyles are so different. But there is a perfect metabolism that we're hardwired to actually be able to groom. So why do people actually gain weight in middle age? Why do women gain weight?
Because we're eating more and moving less. Therefore, we're slowly or quickly gaining more excess body fat. And excess body fat is what slows the metabolism, not our age.
Bingo. And by the way, hormones also make a difference because when our hormonal milieu changes, our brain changes. When our brain changes, our stress levels change, our temperature regulation changes. So all these changes that do happen naturally as part of our reproductive life may influence our brain and may influence our behavior and our lifestyle choices as well. On top of that, think about it. When you're 40, 45, 50, the things that we all have to worry about are very different than when we're 20 years old. Okay. We're worried about the economy. We're worried about our jobs. We're worried about the climate. We're worried about our kids. We're worried about all this extra stress compromises our ability to actually be able to ward off developing this extra body fat. So it's like why do traffic jams become so terrible? It's not one traffic light. It's not one accident. It's the domino effect of all these things that converge. That's why people gain weight in middle age. But the good news is.
And is that, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
So is stress the cause of the weight gain? Or is it because you're stressed, you're eating more, moving less, and then are putting on extra body fat? Or is stress itself?
The answer
okay.
is stress, the epinephrine that is released by your brain that normally for athletic performance, for fight or flight response, for solving problems, acute problems. Look, that in a short term actually improves your performance and actually helps you burn body fat. But when it's actually released all the time, actually it undoes your ability to burn. Your metabolism continues to actually want to actually store more energy as opposed to burn it. It's trying to conserve the energy. So you actually wind up gaining more weight when you're chronically stressed.
Chronic is always almost always bad, and acute is usually not so bad, even with injury and inflammation.
Exactly. Same deal.
Okay.
So the good news is that this research has revealed something about who we are as humans, which is that we have a hardwired system, and our metabolism really is under our control. And even if we're middle-aged, even if we're struggling with obesity or diabetes or metabolic syndrome, or just sort of aesthetic weight gain, and you're not comfortable with how you look, you can actually yoke it under control by burning down extra body fat. What you eat, when you eat, and how you eat can all make a difference.